I found my girlfriend's secret OnlyFans, and what I did next changed everything. My name is David, I'm 32 years old, and I am a software developer. I live in a small apartment in the city with my girlfriend, Clara. We've been together for 3 years, sharing rent, groceries, the same worn sofa, and a comfortable silence that usually feels more like intimacy than emptiness. Clara is 30, a freelance graphic designer, creative and a little messy, with a laugh that could genuinely brighten the grayest sky. She's beautiful, not in a model-perfect way, but in a real, glowing way. Bright, curious eyes, a smattering of freckles across her nose, and a body that's soft in all the right places, curves that fit perfectly against mine. Our life was good, stable, predictable, perhaps, but in a comforting way. We had our routines. Coffee together in the morning, parallel workdays hunched over laptops, cooking dinner, Netflix, sex that had settled into a comfortable rhythm, full of affection and familiarity. We talked about the future, maybe getting a bigger place, dreams of travel, the distant possibility of kids. There were no big secrets, or so I thought. The discovery was accidental. I was troubleshooting an issue on her old laptop. One evening, she'd spilled water on her new one and needed to retrieve some files. I was in her cloud storage, just navigating folders, when I saw a file name that made my blood run cold. OnlyFans_promo_pics_final.zip. My first reaction was a cold, hard shock that hit me right in the gut. OnlyFans? Clara? The woman I shared my life with, who cuddled into my chest each night. The betrayal wasn't rational initially. It was primal. A secret world I hadn't known existed. Shame, confusion, hurt. They washed over me in waves. Why didn't she tell me? Was something wrong? Was this about money? But beneath the initial shock, a different, darker current began to flow. Curiosity. And if I'm being brutally honest, a potent surge of arousal, mixed with the transgression of looking at something I wasn't supposed to see. It was a forbidden door that had just creaked open. I didn't open the zip file. Not then. I closed the browser, finished the file transfer, and pretended I'd seen nothing. For the rest of the evening, I was a ghost in my own skin. I watched her, really watched her. As she talked about her day, her hands gesturing animatedly, her eyes bright. Did she have a whole other life behind those eyes? A life where she was someone else for strangers? That night, lying beside her, the comfortable silence felt like a chasm. I wanted to ask, to scream, to demand answers. But fear held me back. Fear of the truth, fear of the damage, fear of what it meant for us. And the curiosity gnawed at me. A relentless itch I felt compelled to scratch. I needed to see. The next day, at work, my code editor was a blur. My mind churned. I rationalized it. Maybe it was just tame stuff. Maybe it was a side hustle she was embarrassed about. Maybe I could just look, understand, and then we could talk. But deep down, I knew that wasn't the full story. The real drive was the illicit thrill, the thought of seeing my Clara through the eyes of a stranger. I created a burner email address, a fake profile name, Alex. I used a VPN, paid with a prepaid card I bought with cash from a convenience store across town. The secrecy felt sordid, like I was already doing something wrong, mirroring the secret I imagined she was keeping. Finding her was surprisingly easy. A quick search led me to her page. Her profile picture wasn't overtly sexual, just her face smiling, but with a captivating intensity I hadn't seen before. My heart hammered in my chest as I clicked subscribe. The confirmation screen felt like signing a pact with the devil. And then I was in. It was Clara, but different, more confident, bolder. The content started relatively mild. Lingerie shots, suggestive poses on our sofa, the one I sat on daily, glimpses of skin. But even these initial posts hit me with the force of a physical blow. Seeing her, my Clara, like this, knowing strangers were seeing her too, it was overwhelming. It was a mix of gut-wrenching betrayal and intense, confusing arousal. Every curve, every expression, every inch of skin felt amplified, both familiar and utterly new. I scrolled, my breath catching in my throat. Her captions were playful, inviting. The comments from other subscribers were appreciative. Reading them, seeing other men talk about her, sent a jolt of possessiveness through me, a desperate, twisted need to assert some kind of claim, even in this anonymous space. Then came the spicier content, pay-per-view videos, private message options. The pictures grew more explicit, showcasing her body with a raw confidence that was breathtaking. There were videos where she talked directly to the camera, her voice a husky murmur, her eyes locking onto mine, or, I knew, the camera's. Seeing her slick skin, the way her fingers trailed over herself, the faint flush on her cheeks, it was intoxicating. It wasn't just lust. It was seeing a side of her I hadn't witnessed, a power and sensuality she revealed only in this hidden realm. The first time I sent her a private message, my hands were shaking. I kept it generic, a compliment on a recent post. Her reply was standard, professional creator speak, thanking me for the tip I'd included. But getting that message, seeing her name pop up in my burner account's inbox, felt incredibly intimate, even though she had no idea it was me. The anonymity became a shield, and a dangerous enabler. In real life, I was quiet, sometimes hesitant. Here, I could be bold. I could ask for things, express desires I never would have voiced out loud. And she, Clara, my girlfriend, would respond. I started tipping generously. At first, it was just a few dollars here and there, but it escalated quickly. Seeing her thank it quote publicly, seeing her respond enthusiastically to my private requests, it became an addiction. I asked for specific poses, specific outfits. Some I recognized from her wardrobe, which added another layer of transgression. I asked for videos where she focused on certain parts of her body, where she whispered secrets into the camera, and she delivered. The content she created specifically for me, or based on my requests, was electrifying. It was like directing my own private show starring my girlfriend, a twisted fantasy playing out in the digital ether. I'd be sitting next to her on the sofa, her leg touching mine, and in my head, I'd be replaying a video she'd sent Alex that morning, a video where she was arching her back, eyes half closed, moaning softly, a sound I had only ever heard in the privacy of our bedroom. The duality was maddening. During the day, I was her loving boyfriend, sharing mundane details about work, holding her hand on the street. At night, or when she was out, I was her anonymous subscriber, consuming her most intimate moments, paying for access to the body I could touch for free, but craving the version of her that came alive behind the screen. I became her top fan. The site's analytics showed it. She mentioned it in a general post once, thanking her, quote, amazing top supporter Alex, who was so generous and had such specific, fun requests. A thrill, cold and sharp, went through me. I was her top fan, but in a way that felt utterly, horribly wrong. It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about the control, the secret knowledge, the bizarre intimacy built on anonymity and deception. The money I was spending became significant. I justified it by telling myself I was helping her, that maybe this was her way of making extra cash without having to ask me or rely solely on freelancing. But the truth was, I was spending it for my own twisted gratification, for the rush of seeing my requests fulfilled, for the feeling of being special to her in this secret world, even if she didn't know who was making her feel special. The tension of keeping the secret was immense. Every conversation felt like navigating a minefield. What if she mentioned a topic from a private message? What if I accidentally used phrasing from one of her captions? Our real-life intimacy became strained. Not because I didn't desire her. I desired her more than ever, fueled by the forbidden content, but because the secret sat between us like a physical barrier. Sex felt different. Sometimes it felt like I was with the Clara from the screen, analyzing her body as I had done online. Other times, the guilt was so heavy I could barely touch her. The confession didn't come from me. It came from her discovery. It was a Tuesday evening. We were cooking pasta, the familiar scent of garlic and tomatoes filling the kitchen. Clara was talking about her OnlyFans, something she had started doing recently, usually in a casual, almost detached way, like it was just another freelance gig. She mentioned a particularly sweet message she'd received from Alex. "He's been amazing, honestly," she said, stirring the sauce. "So supportive, great tips, and he asked for this really specific kind of video. Took me ages to get it right, but he loved it, said it was exactly what he meant." My blood ran cold. That video. I knew exactly which one she meant. I had described it to her in agonizing detail in a private message. I must have paused for too long, or my face must have given something away. She stopped stirring and looked at me, her brow furrowed. "David? You okay? You look a bit pale." My mind raced. This was it. The moment of truth. I could lie, feign ignorance, or... What did he ask for? I heard myself say, my voice thin. She hesitated, a strange expression crossing her face. "Well, it was kind of specific. He wanted me to wear that old blue lace bra, the one you like, and..." She stopped again, her eyes narrowing slightly. A dawning realization, slow and horrifying, spread across her features. The blue lace bra. I had mentioned it to her, just to her, in a private chat on the site. No one else knew about that particular detail, that it was my favorite. Her eyes locked onto mine, wide with disbelief, and then something shattering, an awful realization. Betrayal, hurt so deep it made her gasp. "Oh God," she whispered, the spoon clattering against the pot. "No, David. Please tell me no." The heat rushed to my face, a sickening flush. I couldn't speak. My silence was the confirmation. You subscribed?" she choked out, her voice trembling. "You were. Alex?" Tears welled in her eyes. Not soft tears, but sharp, angry ones. "How could you?" The question wasn't loud, but it echoed in the sudden silence of the kitchen, louder than any shout. "How could you do that? Why didn't you just ask me? Why did you watch me like that? Pay for me? Secretly?" It all came spilling out then, her confusion, her hurt, her sense of violation. Not just the fact that I'd seen her content, but the deception, the anonymity, the fact that I had consumed her work like a stranger while sleeping beside her every night. "Were you getting off on the idea that I didn't know?" she asked, her voice raw with pain. "Was that the thrill? That I was performing for someone else, but it was really you all along?" That question cut me to the core because, shamefully, there was a sliver of truth to it. The secrecy had amplified the arousal, the forbidden nature of it. I tried to explain, to apologize, the words tripping over themselves. I saw the file name. I was curious. I didn't know how to ask. I got sucked in, seeing you. It was just so compelling. I didn't mean to hurt you, Clara. Never. My explanation sounded pathetic, even to my own ears. It didn't excuse the lies, the secrecy, the profound breach of trust. I had seen her, stripped bare in more ways than one, while remaining hidden myself. I had turned our shared reality into a voyeuristic game fueled by my own insecurities and twisted desires. She just stared at me, the tears streaming down her face, her eyes filled with the pain I had inflicted. The comfortable intimacy of our kitchen, the smell of cooking dinner, it all felt tainted, ruined. I don't even know who you are right now," she finally said, her voice barely a whisper. "The man I live with, or the man who paid to watch me in secret?" The pasta sauce simmered forgotten on the stove. The comfortable silence had been replaced by a heavy, suffocating stillness, broken only by her quiet sobs and my own ragged breathing. There was no easy fix, no magic words to make this right. I had shattered something fundamental between us. We stood there for a long time, the air thick, with unspoken accusations and regret. The confession was out, but the story was far from over. This wasn't the end, but it was the beginning of something else, entirely. A long, painful road of trying to understand, to forgive, or perhaps to let go of the person I thought I knew, and the person she realized I was. The comfortable familiarity of our life had vanished, replaced by an unsettling, naked truth, and we had a long night ahead of us.